Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, and welcome to the third session of In Poverty, the Lunch and Learn series hosted by United Way's Young Leaders. My name is Samantha Ashby, and I'm chair of United Way Young Leaders. We're a group of engaged young professionals learning together and working to create community-wide change. We're so glad that you're able to be here with us today. Thank you for zooming in. If you missed the previous two Lunch and Learns sessions with Michelle Guthers Clark and Kim Gatling, those recordings are available at unitedwaygso.org/learn. And this session will also be recorded, and you will receive the recording link by end of day today. Before I introduce today's speaker, I would like to thank our Young Leaders Cabinet for planning this engaging and informative series. And I'd also like to thank our sponsors of the series. Thank you to our gold sponsor, P&G. Thank you to our bronze sponsors, an anonymous donor, Cone Health, and Contours Emerging Leaders Group. And also thank you to our friend sponsor, Lincoln Financial Group. Today's featured speaker is Marcus Thomas. He is the Dream Team Director at Mount Zion Baptist Church, and he is also the Vice Chair of United Way's Young Leaders. Marcus is an active volunteer in our community and is truly a wonderful partner in the work of Young Leaders, and we know that you're going to learn something new today. As you have questions, you can pop into the chat and ask them, and after Marcus is done with his presentation, he'll address as many as he can. Marcus's talk is titled Volunteerism for Mutual Gain. So please join me in welcoming Marcus Thomas. Take it away, Marcus.
Thank you, Samantha. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you to Lauren and the rest of the faculty and staff at United Way for this opportunity to share with everyone concerning volunteerism for mutual gain. So I know some of you may not know me, so just allow me the time to introduce myself. Again, my name is Marcus Thomas. I serve as Dream Team Director here at Mount Zion Greensboro. I have the wonderful opportunity to work with over 2,000 volunteers here at the church. I work to help provide them opportunities to serve within the church through one of our 44 different ministries, but also out in the community as well. So I spend time building and cultivating new partnerships with other community organizations to allow the church to go out in the community and serve under the umbrella of our Serve the City movement. And do all this under the direction of my senior pastor, Bishop Brian J. Pierce Sr. And I'm also Chief Community Relations Officer at the Thomas Consulting Group, which is my company that I've started. I work with organizations to provide volunteer management, outreach initiatives, philanthropy opportunities, and public speaking. So that is my own company that I do on the side as well. So I'm very excited about that. We have some great things coming up for my company for later this year and into next year. So the topic is around volunteering. So let's talk about where do I volunteer. As Samantha mentioned, I serve as vice chair for the United Way Young Leaders Cabinet. I am also a member of the Health and Basic Needs Impact Council for United Way as well. This year, I get to serve as program chair for the 2021 class of Leadership Greensboro. I just recently graduated from Leadership Greensboro last week, so I'm excited to be one of 4 individuals who will be serving as program chair for the next incoming class. I serve as City Commissioner for the Redevelopment Commission with the City of Greensboro. I am a member of the Cone Health Women's and Children's Advisory Board. I'm also a member of the Hispanic Community Giving Advisory Council at the Community Foundation of Greensboro. I serve as co-chair for the Young and Dangerous Giving Circle at the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro, which is the first African-American giving circle that has been established at the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro. And I'm also chairing the Volunteer Center's the Triad's 2021 Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. So I know you guys are like, wow, how does he do it all? I try to keep everything in balance, and I try to keep a tight calendar. But most importantly, I am a father and a husband to my beautiful wife, Vakaya, and our daughter, Hannah Grace, who's 8 months. So that's the most important job that I have over and beyond everything else that I do. So volunteering has been a part of my life since my conception. I've been volunteering as early as I can remember when I was 6 and 7 years old. My aunt, Mary Thomas, at the time, she was the executive director for the Bethlehem Community Center in Spartanburg, South Carolina. and I would go with her and kind of just help out around the center with whatever activities that was happening there, or some office work that she may have been having going on, or some of her staff had going on. I would kind of help and do things from that standpoint with her. And then it just went into my high school years. If you happen to see my high school diploma, I have a special seal on my high school diploma for community service, for volunteering. I forget the number of hours you had to volunteer to get the seal, but I have this particular seal on my high school diploma. And that went into my college years and also into my professional career as well. So volunteering is in my blood, is what I do, is what I love. So the question may be, what is volunteerism? Uh, so we, so I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, but we're just gonna go through this definition real quick. Volunteerism is the policy or practice of volunteering one's time or talents for charitable, educational, or other worthwhile activities, especially in one's community. So let's pause on that word community just for one quick second. So one of the better known benefits of volunteering is the impact that it has on your community. Volunteers are often the glue that holds the community together, and volunteering allows you to connect with your local community and make it a better place. However, volunteering is a two-way street. Um, it can benefit you and your family as much as the cause or the organization that you choose to help. Dedicating your time to volunteering helps you make new friends, expand your network, and it boosts your social skills. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. So let's look at some highlights of volunteering in North Carolina. So just want to pause and let you guys know that due to COVID, 2019 figures have not been released just yet. So for the sake of this presentation and this time, we're going to operate off of 2018 figures. So in North Carolina, 2.8 million people volunteered in 2018. Over 265 million hours were served from those individuals that volunteered in 2018. If we wanted to put a dollar figure on that, in the state of North Carolina, the average cost per hour for people that volunteered was $24.19 per hour. Residents donated, 54.7% of residents donated at least $25 or more to a charity or a local organization in 2018. So let's go back a little bit and let's look at the national figures for this as well. So we said 2.8 million people in North Carolina volunteered in 2018. Nationally, 77.3 million Americans volunteered in 2018. Volunteered over 6.9 billion, that's billion with a B, billion hours in 2018 as well. The national wage rate for the U.S. in 2018 was $25.43. So North Carolina wasn't too far off from the national average for the wage per hour. And then Americans gave $410 billion in 2018 to their local organizations or charities. And North Carolina in 2018 ranked 19th in the US among other states in terms of volunteering, with 35.1% of residents volunteered that particular year. So I'm gonna pause for a second. I kind of want everybody to jump in the chat and guess what state ranked number one. And Lauren and Samantha, if you guys can kind of read off some of the guesses to me.
California, Texas, California, Minnesota.
Okay.
Florida, NC. Any more guesses?
Okay. Any more?
I don't see any more.
Okay. So actually, the number one state in the U.S. that came in at 51% of their volunteers serving for 2018 was actually Utah, which was surprising to me. I did not suspect Utah, but Utah came in at number one in 2018. So let's look at how volunteering can serve as a pathway to employment and career advancement. So the question has come up, does it pay to volunteer? And the answer to that is yes. Studies show that unemployed people who volunteer 20 to 99 hours during a given year are more likely to find employment compared to those who did not volunteer. So how does that work? So the next point, with that, how it pays to volunteer is that volunteering helps lift job seeker spirits. And it's one of the most important psychological benefits of people who have a prolonged job search is keeping a positive mindset and keeping those spirits uplifted. And that's a key and critical element in that. So volunteering helps to do that. And then volunteering also helps to expand your network. A lot of times it's not always what you know, but it is who you know. And so volunteering helps you to meet different people. You'll make different contacts. Be able to expand your network and meet people that you may not always have access to. And so, a lot of times in my volunteer experience, I was able to meet people who may have been CEOs or serving different level of capacities. And if I was not volunteering, I would not be able to get to know some of these people. And then also volunteering helps you to cultivate and build positive relationships outside of your traditional work environment. And then volunteering also serves as a great resume builder. Giving back can show that you are committed to your community and you have skills, connections, and you take initiative and you have that experience needed in the workplace. And if we look at it from an employer standpoint, they want to know that the candidate is willing to use their valuable skills for a worthy cause. So that's another way that volunteering can help you build your resume. And as you're building out your resume, list the places where you volunteered. List Make it like a job description. Talk about some of your achievements and some of the things that you did and how that volunteer experience is relevant to the job that you're seeking and that you're applying for. And the volunteer can also help you find a mentor. A mentor is someone who can guide you and encourage you in your career. For me, for my career, from how I have been able to uh, progress and transcend my career, I had to have mentors, and volunteering has helped me to find and create some new mentors in my life. One of the ones that I've able to meet and cultivate a relationship with is Michelle Gethers Clark, who's the CEO at United Way, and before COVID, I would go sit with her at least once a quarter and just get some advice about the next steps of my professional career. And if I did not have the opportunity to volunteer at the United Way, I wouldn't have had that opportunity to meet Michelle and to be able to get close to her and to be able to seek advice from her. And so volunteering also helps you check out an occupation or industry. When you're thinking about a career direction or career change, volunteering helps you explore different occupations and industries. And so, let's say, for example, if you're wanting to go work at a hospital, if you have the opportunity to volunteer at a hospital, you get to meet those frontline workers, you get to meet those nurses, those doctors, those people that work in this particular industry day in and day out. And if you're able to put that experience on your resume, that may stand out to an employer that you're trying to, or a hospital that you're trying to get hired onto and be able to work at. So volunteering just helps you in so many different ways to check out an occupation or industry and to help you build and expand your resume and that network. And yes, I see a comment from Trisha. Yes, we definitely appreciate all of our healthcare heroes right now during COVID and even far beyond that. So let's look at volunteering for mutual gain. How can volunteering work help you the most? So when you're looking at wanting to volunteer and wanting to get involved, you have to find the right fit. A lot of times people volunteer because, their friends ask them to come out and help out and or they feel obligated to do so. But if you want to volunteer, you have to find the right fit. I'll tell you a quick story. So um, back when I was living in South Carolina at the time, I had done some work with the United Way and young professionals in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So when I moved to Greensboro, I knew that I wanted to get involved with the young professionals here in North Carolina with United Way. So I picked up the phone and I called Lauren. She didn't know who I was. I didn't know who she was. And I just said, hey, my name is Marcus Thomas. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. And I want to get involved with the young leaders with United Way. And she was probably taken aback at the time because she's probably like, who is this guy calling me? And what is he about? And so she was like, hey, you want to come out? We're having a meet tonight. Come out and come see what we're about. And so that's what I did. And so when I got there, I was able to meet other individuals, other professionals in the community. I was able to find out that their mission was to end poverty, which aligns with my moral compass and my faith and my belief. And so I said, this is the right fit for me. This is where I want to get involved. This is where I want to serve. And so with volunteering, you have to find something that's meaningful to you in your life and that will provide you with new contact skills or expertise closely aligned with your professional goals. And then secondly, you should also treat your volunteer job like a paid job. Even if you provide assistance for only a few hours a week, it's important to demonstrate professionalism and serious commitment. Attend those meetings, show up on time. If you could stay late to help clean up or do whatever, stay late. Show that commitment to that organization that you chose to volunteer for, because that's important. They need to know that you are committed, and they need to know that you're treating this like if it was a paid job. And you should look for opportunities to take on assignments with greater responsibilities like leadership roles or board positions, because that's also great for your resume. That's also great for future employers or even your current employers to know that, hey, I serve as chair, I serve as vice chair, or I'm secretary, or I'm sitting on this particular board within this organization. That's definitely important. And then don't forget to connect your volunteer work on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, as you would with other work colleagues. And remember to incorporate your nonprofit duties into your LinkedIn profile and your resume, because that's definitely important as you continue to advance your career and your volunteerism. And then you should put your expertise and skills you have to use. You should definitely, from your education to your working on your jobs or past volunteer experiences that you have, you should put those and use those skills to use, because iron sharpens iron. You're only going to get better by being able to utilize skills and the gifts and the talents that you have um, to give to your particular organization that you're volunteering for. So definitely put those expertise and skills that you have to use. You don't have to wait until you're 40, 50, or 60 years old to put those skills to use. In your 20s and in your 30s, put those skills to use. Put the education to use. I'm getting ready to start my master's program at UNCG with the concentration in nonprofit management. And as I continue to get additional education and learn more, I plan on utilizing those things that I learned not only in my job, but in the organizations that I volunteer for, because it's definitely important. And these organizations can use your expertise and your knowledge and your skills, and they would definitely appreciate it, because a lot of times nonprofits, they may not have the budget line item to go out and hire a videographer or someone to take photos or whatever. So those little side skills would be definitely important and great for them to utilize if you have those. So that's why it's important to use your expertise and skills that you have and put those things to use. So how can you get involved in Greensboro? And if some of you guys who are maybe on and not living in Greensboro, maybe looking into your local community, there's definitely many different ways that you can get involved. If you're in Greensboro, a great organization to get involved in is the United Way of Greater Greensboro. A lot of different opportunities there to get involved with different affinity groups and different events that we have coming up. Obviously, with COVID, a lot of events have kind of been postponed right now or taken to a virtual aspect, but it's definitely ways for you to get involved. Also have the Volunteer Center of the Triad with Carly Swain, who's the executive director there. Definitely a lot of different ways there. That's where you can get further connected into the community and find out about all volunteer possibilities and opportunities in the Greensboro community. And also, your local church, your local schools, it's definitely plenty different volunteer opportunities. Here recently, I learned about a new organization in Greensboro that I did not know anything about, which is the Interactive Resource Center. And they have different volunteer opportunities for you to get involved with there as well. So you just find a cause that aligns with who you are as a person, your moral compass, and things that you believe in, and get involved with that. You don't have to be involved with 4 or 5 different organizations. Find one that's meaningful to you, and get involved with that particular organization. And what's also important is to know your capacity, because you don't want to say yes to everybody. You don't want to be moving all over the place and get burnt out too easily. So know your capacity, know when to say no to a particular opportunity, and know when to say not right now. It's just not a right fit for me right now. So just when you know your capacity and know those things, and you'll be able to be effective with any organizations that you choose to volunteer and to serve in. So I'm going to pause for a second and take some questions that we may have in the chat right now.
Okay. And as people have more questions, feel free to pop them into the chat and we can, okay, sorry, okay. As people have more questions, pop them in the chat because we've got some time, and Marcus, we would love to tap into your expertise. Let's see. Aiden has said there's a particularly interesting type of volunteering when you move from one place to another and can easily connect to the local version, chapter, or office of a place where you volunteered before, like United Way, can help with setting in as a new resident. And I'm curious, Marcus, can you talk more about that? Because that happened to you just a year ago, or well over a year ago when you moved.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I moved to Greensboro from Atlanta in 2015. It was October 2015 when I moved here. And be quite honest with you, at the time, it was a job promotion, so I didn't know how long I was going to be in Greensboro. I had planned to be here for a year and then move on back to Atlanta. And so when I decided that I was going to stay here for a while and be dedicated to this community, I knew that I've had past volunteer experiences, so I knew one easy way to get involved and to give back would be calling and getting involved with the United Way. So just knowing different organizations that are national and being able to pick up the phone and just kind of call them, kind of see what's going on. I think that's a great way for you to get involved and a great way for you to get to know new people within the community that you live, work, and are and able to serve in.
Yeah, I never thought about that before, Marcus. That's a really great insight for people, especially young professionals who may be moving more often for career changes, ways to connect to their community. Um,
Absolutely.
so Lauren has asked, as someone who manages volunteers in your job, what are things you look for in an ideal volunteer?
I look for someone that is dependable, someone that's committed, and someone that is flexible. Sometimes with volunteering, you may sign up for one particular area to volunteer in, but as a lot of you guys know, when the events happens or when it's time for things to kind of take off, unfortunately, sometimes you get people that may not show up. So you may have to not only do the one thing that you signed up for, but you may have to go in and take on another assignment as well. So flexibility is definitely something that I look for within an ideal volunteer, and someone that is committed to the process. Even if someone that can't, something life happens and can't show up, they pick up the phone and they call and say, hey, I'm not able to make it. That's part of commitment. And so those things that I appreciate, and those are the things that I look for in a volunteer, and things that I appreciate in volunteers, because people don't volunteer because they have to. They volunteer because they get to, because they want to. So I try always to make sure that volunteers feel appreciated and they feel important, because they're coming to help out when they could be doing other things. So I definitely appreciate those that are committed and flexible and dedicated to the process.
Awesome. Okay, Jim, this is a comment he made, but I think is good to bring up, that anyone who might want to get involved with a K-8 classroom and help kids learn about financial literacy, let's see, work readiness and entrepreneurship, junior achievement of the triad, maybe your ticket. And then Stephen asked, you mentioned organizations need volunteers with special skills. What kind of skills, in your opinion, are the most sought after?
Before I answer Stephen's question, I'm going to jump back to Jim's comment. I definitely agree with you, Jim. And another one here in Greensboro that may be a good fit as well as Guilford Education Alliance. They do a lot of great work. So that may be another good opportunity for those who are looking to get involved with schools and K through 8 classroom as well. But Stephen's question, so I think some of the skills that are most sought after amongst employers are definitely soft skills, whether that's, computer literacy, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. I think some of those skills are definitely sought after from a lot of different employees. But I think that those non-traditional soft skills are definitely, sought after as well. So any trade work or trade opportunities that people have to where we can go and learn more about different trade opportunities, I think those are great as well, and definitely sought after. If you're looking for a construction job or things of that nature. So I definitely think soft skills and different trade skills are definitely sought after.
Makes sense. Janie asked, do you use software to keep track of volunteer signups? I'm looking for a software solution to track volunteer hours, calendar invites, etc.
So Jenny, the quick and obvious one, depending upon how deep you need to get into it. But the quick and obvious one would be Sign Up Genius. I use Sign Up Genius a lot sometimes to just give people an easy and comfortable link that they can go and sign up for a volunteer opportunity. But here at the church, we use KidCheck. KidCheck is a volunteer software that we use to track people's volunteer hours. So they're able, when they come to the church or when we're doing an outside event, they're able to put in their phone number and they're able to track the volunteer hours. Oh, had a little feedback. They're able to definitely have the calendar invites to get reminded about, hey, volunteer opportunities is coming up. And it's easy for me to kind of keep track and keep in contact with those individuals because I have all their contact information listed in there as well. So we use KidCheck here at the church, which is a wonderful tool to use. And I'm more than happy to provide you with other tools as well that I'm learning about still today.
Thank you for sharing that. And if you don't mind, can we type that in the chat what the name of that
Yeah,
was?
yeah, I'll do that right now.
I was trying to figure out how to spell it.
Yeah, it's,
Write down for my own knowledge. KidCheck. Yeah. Okay, thanks. And it sounds like maybe someone needs to go on mute if that might be happening in your background. Okay, Bailey has asked, what has volunteering taught you about your personal or professional goals? Has it shifted your vocational focus or helped you refine it?
Yeah, so volunteering has taught me that I know a little bit more than I thought that I did, and it's challenged me as well to learn different things that I may not have known about, and it hasn't fully shifted my vocational focus because I love what I get the opportunity to do here at Mount Zion. But volunteering did help me, in fact, in terms of wanting to start my business and wanting to do community relations consulting because just kind of seeing that, what different organizations need and where I could fit in with in terms of like my business and how it can help out other organizations. It's definitely helped me from that standpoint and volunteering has definitely helped sharpen my tools and my skill sets that I have and that I'm able to use here on my job and out in the community as well.
That's awesome. Let's see. Jim has oh wait, got one more above this. Lauren has said, Marcus, you mentioned that you learned about volunteerism from your aunt. How can you build a culture of volunteerism in your family? And what are some ways families can volunteer together?
Yeah, so but as I said, different volunteerism has been in my family, been something a part of my family. Philanthropy has been part of my family for years. And so it's definitely many different ways that your family can cultivate a culture of volunteerism, and that's why whether it's on like Thanksgiving, helping feed the hungry, or going to urban ministries and helping feed breakfast to those in the morning. So I do that every Wednesday, and I have families that come out every Wednesday morning at 5:30 in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and helping to prepare breakfast for those that are hungry. So that's definitely a great way. So just finding opportunities that every member of your family can be involved in terms of volunteering, be a great way to cultivate that and be a great way to build a sense of togetherness amongst your family as well.
That's great. That's a great way to be able to involve your family, especially at the Greensboro Urban Ministries. Before I go to the next question, I wanted to mention another way that you can volunteer with maybe younger children. I have a 2 and a 5-year-old, and something that we do is through a simple gesture. If you're not familiar with a simple gesture, it's they give you a green bag, like a reusable grocery bag with a list of items needed that they then distribute to local food banks. But you just kind of get a little bit extra at the grocery store when you're going, the items on the list, and then you put it on your front porch. And then they tell you the day they're coming around and they pick them up. And something that I've done with my kids is taken them with me to pick them up. Because they love to hop out of the car and go grab the bags. And they also can be involved in like the shopping of getting the stuff and knowing that, they're being able to just physically help pack the bag and plan what to get and then pick them up and deliver them. So if you're interested in involving your family in that, they're always looking for volunteers too.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Jim said volunteering is a great way to explore and develop your leadership skills. I think that we all agree with that. Good point, Jim. And Candace says, what's one of your favorite or most impactful volunteering experiences or stories that you can share?
I would say probably the most recent one was back in October when we did Trunk or Treat at the United Way. That was the largest trunk or treat event that, from my understanding, that they ever had at the United Way. And so, just being able to provide a safe and fun place for kids to come and to get candy, and then for families to come and to just to interact, and it was a great, safe, fun place. And I believe, and Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we had over 2,000 individuals there that particular day. And that was just a great, impactful volunteer experience. Another one would be whenever I share, no, no, when I volunteered with Community Housing Solutions, and we were able to help a particular homeowner in the community whose home experienced some damage from the tornadoes that we had here in Greensboro back in 2018, and was able to help make that particular homeowner's home safer and warmer and drier. And we're able to take up his flooring and help put down more flooring and just redo their entire bathroom and everything, and paint the outside of their home, and just being able to give back and do things that way. That's one of the things I love about volunteering, because you get to see an immediate impact. You get to see an immediate positive takeaway for the individuals that you're helping. And this wasn't particularly a volunteer experience for me, but for those here at the church, the COVID-19, for 10 weeks here at the church, I had volunteers here helping me to give back to the Greensboro community by providing fresh produce and hot lunches for families that are in need. There may be experiencing job loss, or kids who didn't know where their next meal were coming from. So I was able to do that here for 10 weeks. So just doing things like that, you get to see an immediate return on your investment from volunteering.
Wow, those are great experiences. Thanks for sharing those with us, Marcus. Julie has a question. Do you have any strategies for attracting younger volunteers, young adults?
Yeah, Julie. So one of the things that we do here at Mount Zion is that we try to we listen to our young adults and find the different opportunity zones that they may be interested in, and just trying to align different things that we do here at the church that align up with their interests. And I think by doing that, it helps to attract younger volunteers. I mean, that's some of the things we even talk about with our young leaders cabinet at United Way. Just like what is going on in our community that's on the minds and on the hearts of those young professionals, that we can do things that cultivates and that's centered around some of their concerns. And so as we do that, we were able to see more young professionals come out to different events to volunteer. We're able to see more young adults here at Mount Zion come out to the church and volunteer, because we're doing things that is centered around their concerns and the things that they enjoy doing. So just trying to find that balance and have that mixture to where not only, you have the older volunteers, but you also have the young adults and those that millennial age to be able to come out and volunteer and be able to give back in ways that are meaningful to them.
Um, and I think kind of to piggyback on that, if anyone, we are always looking with young leaders, especially on ways that we can engage young adults more. We have a few events that have been pretty popular among young adults to volunteer with. But if you have other ideas, feel free to pop them in the chat, email Marcus, email
Yep.
Lauren, just, get them to us, because I think that young adults, we're coming up, we get very busy with career building and having children, raising families. And it's important to be able to volunteer with our community. So if you have any ideas of ways that we could engage more young adults, Young Leaders has almost 2,000 members, and we have two of the things that we do are the trunk or treat in the fall, which this year will be a lot different with restrictions with COVID, but we'll be seeking out volunteers to help decorate trunks and help still be able to make it a fun event for the kids. And then we also host game nights at the Family Success Center. And again, we're, looking for ideas and ways that we can kind of change these things up to make them very safe right now for families. But if you're interested in getting involved with any of those, we'd love to have you.
And Julie said future fund, and I definitely wanted to piggyback off that, and it's actually to kind of answer Melanie's question that I see here as well. Future Fund is a wonderful way for young millennials to get involved here in Greensboro. I'm actually involved with Future Fund as well, and every year around March, April, they do Future Fund 10 Live, to where they allow organizations to do like a Shark Tank type of pitch to pitch their nonprofit, and different organizations throughout the Greensboro community are able to receive funds for their organization to run events or for day-to-day operations and just different things. So Melanie, that has been a common interest amongst young adults for volunteering in Greensboro, whether you want to be a coach, whether you want to just be involved with planning the event. As well. So that's definitely a great way to get involved. And Jody Ruppel, she heads that up, and it's just a great opportunity for young adults young adults and millennials to get involved in Greensboro.
And I can jump in. Hey, everyone, this is Lauren with United Way. I can jump in and answer that question with Melanie, too. So United Way recently conducted a community-wide survey. So while it may not be specific to only young professionals, we did have a lot of young professionals in that demographic respond to that survey. And the top two issues that our respondents were concerned with were poverty and housing. So we know that those are two issues that certainly our community is very invested in, and young professionals are invested in. Just wanted to throw that out there to the group as well.
Thanks, Lauren and Marcus, for your answers to that question. Antoinette has asked, in your opinion, how engaged or not engaged should a person be in the community if they have plans for leaving the city one day? That's a good question. From conversations with friends, sometimes they do not see Greensboro as their permanent home. Therefore, they become hesitant about substantial engagement. Should they just be honest about their engagement with the partner?
Absolutely. I think they definitely should be honest and open about their potential engagement with the partner, and just let them know that, hey, I may be here for 6 months, I may be here for a year, or whatever the case may be. But if that person definitely wants to be involved in some capacity, I think that they should. But at the same time, be up in front and honest about where they stand and where they are, because that goes back to that, that commitment. Like, that particular organization can know that, hey, I'm just going to use you for example, Antoinette, since you asked the question, but they can know, hey, Antoinette, she told us up front she's only going to be here for a year, but while she's here, we're going to be able to try to utilize some of her gifts and talents. And then at the same time, you're still building relationships with people, still getting to know people people that you could potentially use as a reference down the line, because they know, hey, while they were here for a year, they were committed, they were dedicated, they gave us everything that they had, and then they decided to move on, which is fine. Because we see that all the time from volunteering. I see it all the time from volunteering with different organizations. People are only here for a short period of time, but while they're here, they're able to give us some of their gifts and their talents, and then they move forward. But at the same time, they're upfront and honest about where they are and what they're able to do.
That was a great question and a great elaboration and answer on that, Marcus. Antoinette agrees. She says, "Thank you, great answer." Does anyone else have? We are got a few more minutes left in our time. We want to be very respectful of your time today, and thank you for joining us. And if anyone else has any questions or volunteer organizations that you volunteered with that you think that people either may not know about or want to have on their list of places to check into looking to volunteer, please feel free to pop those in the chat box. We'll give a little bit more time. And we'll see. Anyone has anything else they would like to share?
And if you have any further questions, my email is there. Please feel free to email me. I'm definitely open and available to help anyone, whether it's connecting to an organization that they may want to volunteer in, or they may just have a general question. I'm definitely here and open to answer any questions that you may have, or any direction that I can help provide you.
And Cami says, very good and very good and informative. And Julie says, great job, Marcus. We agree. And Jim says, thank you, Marcus, for both your presentation today and your service to our community.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Sincerely do.
Awesome. Team Marcus forever.
Great job, Marcus. Thank you.
Yes, so much. So many positive accolades. And thank you so much, Marcus, for sharing your expertise in both your professional and personal life with us today on volunteering. I think there's a lot of great takeaways on being able to get involved with organizations and how it can really help you connect you with your community and help with your career as well.
Absolutely.
So this, thank you. Lauren says, thank you for joining, everyone. You can visit unitedwaygso.org/volunteer to learn more about United Way's volunteer opportunities. And we would love for folks to get involved with our Meaningful Meals Summer Food Drive coming up this July. And thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope that you have some takeaways and are ready to volunteer in our community and help connect to others professionally and personally. And again, if you missed the last 2 sessions of the Lunch and Learn, they are available at unitedwaygso.org/learn. Those were by Michelle Guthers-Clark and Kim Gatling. And this concludes our 3-part series or 3-part session of the In Poverty, the Lunch and Learn series. But I think that young leaders are thinking maybe we'll revamp and come up with some new topics to continue this going. So I hope that we'll be able to see you soon and join in that way as well. So thank you, Marcus, for your time and for being able to share so much with us. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you.